Jet 24 is your local election headquarters.
Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight on this YourErie.com live digital preview of Election Night 2019. The polls have now been closed for just a minute, and within the next couple of hours, results will start coming in for the many races throughout Erie, Crawford, and Warren counties.
Voters casting ballots for candidates in several key races that will have a direct impact on court, schools, and county and city governments. Jet 24 Action News is your local election headquarters. We begin tonight's election coverage with the race for the Court of Common Pleas. 3 candidates running for 2 seats.
All 3 candidates have cross-filed for a 10-year term on the county bench. Here now a look at the candidates. David Ridge and Aaron Connolly facing off against Ed Smith. All 3, of course, Erie County attorneys. Well-known names in the community. David Ridge, of course, with that well-known Ridge name. His brother, Tom Ridge, former governor and Homeland Security boss. Aaron Connolly, whose father, Shad Connolly, was a county judge. And Ed Smith, who's been an attorney in Erie for 35 years now. Scott Bremner has been covering this race. He joins us now live at the Novo Aurora Club, where candidate Dave Ridge is hosting a watch party. Scott?
Hey, Sean. Yes, we are indeed at the Novo Aurora Club here in the heart of Little Italy. As you said just moments ago, the polls closed, and so people are now just beginning to work their way here. Let me step out of the shot just real quickly and let you see that already the crowd is getting started here. These folks come in with pretty high expectations, to be honest. Their candidate led both tickets in the spring. Now, that doesn't mean anything. We have to remember that there are 3 candidates, and the top 2 get the positions. So what happened in the spring really doesn't matter in that regard, because it's entirely possible that if Aaron Connolly and Ed Smith would come in 1 and 2, that they would get the positions. And Attorney Ridge knows that. He's been working very hard, he tells me. And this is expected to be a pretty full room, and we'll take a look at what's going to happen coming up in the hours to come in terms of whether or not he lands one of those 2 seats on Common Pleas Court. Sean, Jill, let's send it back to you.
Thank you, Scott. In the race for county controller, voters had a choice between Democratic candidate Kyle Faust and Republican incumbent Mary Schaaf. Faust, of course, also running for his re-election of his 5th District County Council seat, as well as county controller. If he were to win both, he would then have to choose which position he would like, but has already indicated that he would take this controller post. Again, Mary Schaaf, the incumbent there, running against County Councilman Kyle Faust. And turning our attention now to County Council, 4 seats are up for re-election. The 1st, 5th, 7th districts. We begin with the 5th district tonight. Incumbent candidate, as we just said, Kyle Faust, facing Republican challenger Brian Shank. Again, Kyle Faust running as well for county controller. Moving to the 1st district, Democrat Kim Clear facing Republican challenger Robert Yates.
Let's round out the county council races. We've got the race for the 7th district seat on council. Republican incumbent Carol Lowell decided not to run for re-election. That opened up the door for a newcomer, Democratic candidate Rita Bishop, and Republican nominee Ellen Showerman facing off. Those winning election tonight will be joining newly elected Democrat Mary Rennie on county council. She won her seat in the primary back in the spring, defeating longtime incumbent Fiore Leon. Let's switch gears now. We're going to take a look at Erie City Council. In this race, we have 5 candidates vying for 3 seats. On the Democratic side, 3 candidates: Mel Witherspoon, Ed Brzezinski, and Michael Keyes. Rounding out the field, 1 Republican, Sean Lyons, in the race tonight, and an independent candidate, Lewis Prest, who jumped into the race after the spring primary. Let's turn now to the race for Erie School Board. 5 director seats open tonight, 9 candidates running. 5 Democrats and 4 Republicans. Here's a look at the candidates. And one of the things that we definitely know is we're going to have 4 new faces because there's only 1 incumbent. You see him right there at the top of the screen. Democrat John Harkins, also Sumner Nichols and Lori Pickens. Continuing with the Dems, running for school board, Gwen Cooley, Rose Sheridan, Timothy Kuzma, Holly Bowers, John Steiner, and Jennifer Dennehy round out the Republicans vying for Erie School Board.
Voters in 3 townships looking to elect a supervisor today. We begin in Mill Creek, where Democratic incumbent John Groh is facing Republican challenger Dan Olet. Of course, Groh has served a term. He's looking to serve another term there in Mill Creek, and those Mill Creek Township voters also deciding who will sit on the school board. 5 seats open there, each position being a 4-year term. Let's take a look at those candidates. There are 5 Democrats on the ballot, again for the top 4 spots, including Shirley Olajeri Winchell, Janine McClintock, Jason Dean, and Tom Marabito. Now, J. Michael Lindner rounding out the Democrats, and James Lindstrom representing the Republican Party, again running for the 4-year term there on the Mill Creek School Board. There was only one candidate on the ballot, though, for the 2-year term on the school board. That is Democrat Shirley Olajeri Winchell.
Voters in Harbor Creek Township choosing tonight a new supervisor between Democratic candidate Linda Meyer and Republican candidate Steve Oler. Rounding out the supervisor races, voters in Summit Township also electing a supervisor. The race here pitting Democrat Jack Lee Jr. against Republican nominee Michael Pace.
And in Crawford County, 4 candidates are on the ballot for county commissioner, the top 3 winning a seat tonight. 2 Democrats, Christopher Schaaf and Dan Hunter, and 2 Republicans, Eric Henry and Francis Widerspan Jr. Here, and we'll have the results of those, of course, when those numbers start coming in. Reporter Star Bodie is in Crawford County tonight covering some of the races there for us. She joins us now live. Star.
Yes, hi Jill, good evening. We're down here in Meadville at the Republican headquarters, and tallying should begin shortly. I'd like to quickly tell you about the commissioners running for this race here this evening. Within the GOP race, Eric Henry and Francis is a lifelong Republican. He moved to Crawford County when he was just 8 years old, so he's a veteran of the area. His experience includes currently serving as commissioner, and as I said earlier, he was also a part of the Townville Lions Club president and worked with local and state elected officials, just to name a few. His goals include to uphold the best interests of the county and make it the #1 priority, and to keep the public informed on all issues throughout the county. Eric Henry is a Meadville area businessman. He has been the president and owner of the Meadville area ambulance for the past 15 years. If Henry is elected, he will look to run the county on a basic guidelines like affordability and necessity of long-term impact on customers. In the Democratic Party, Schaaf and Hunter will also be running for commissioner. Another hot topic here in Crawford County is the sheriff's races. Democratic Neil Fraddis and Republican David Powers are running against one another. Fraddis is a former deputy sheriff within the Crawford County Sheriff's Office, and he has served for more than 13 years. Powers is a deputy sheriff and surgeon of the Sheriff's Office, where he is also a firearms instructor. He has 26 years of law enforcement experience, with his first 22 years with Meadville Police Department. Lastly, 4 candidates will be running for Meadville City Council. I will be giving you an update later about those. For now, as you can see, family and friends are down here at the Republican headquarters, and we'll be giving you an update soon. Jill, Sean.
Okay, Star Bodie live for us tonight in Crawford County. Thank you for the latest on that race.
Got one more race that we're keeping a close eye on in Crawford County. 2 seats in play for Meadville City Council. 4 candidates, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans on the ballot. Here now a look at the candidates for the Democrats: Autumn Vogel and Larry McKnight. Republican Party represented by Nancy Manglio Bittner and John Battaglia. Heading out to Warren County, voters there heading to the polls. A big race for county commissioner. There will be 3 new commissioners seated, 4 candidates, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans. A look now at the candidates here: Jeff Eggleston, one of the incumbents, and Paul Giannini on the Democratic side. Ben Cafferlin, another incumbent, and Tricia Durbin on the Republican side of the ballot for this race. Race for Pennsylvania Superior Court now on the ballot. 4 candidates vying for 2 seats on the appeals bench. Democrats Amanda Green Hawkins and Daniel McCaffrey, and Republican candidates Megan McCarthy King and Christy Lee Peck.
This year's election is the first in Pennsylvania to fall under new security standards since Russians unsuccessfully tried to hack into Pennsylvania's voter registration system in 2016. To limit the risk of being hacked, certified young voting machines in Pennsylvania are never connected or permitted on internet networks. Pennsylvania has partnered with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security to conduct assessments of the state's security and provide counties with security training. Also, the Pennsylvania Department of State required counties select new voting systems that provide a paper record to be implemented before next year's primary election.
And 45 of those counties are implementing them today.
We are doing all that we can in Pennsylvania to make sure that Pennsylvania voters have confidence in our election system.
Today's election also marks the last election that Pennsylvania voters will use the current touchscreen machines. The state required counties to change the machines. As we just said, it was determined that hackers had targeted Pennsylvania during the 2016 election. The new machines will have a dual system that will print a copy of what was decided by touchscreen or do the entire ballot by paper. It's part of a $90 million state plan to make Pennsylvania's voting process more secure.
Now, for all of the results and all the reactions as Election Night 2019 comes to a close, you can watch all of our coverage at 10 o'clock on Fox 66 News and 11 o'clock on Jet 24 Action News.
The numbers should be coming in by then, and we will have live reports with the winners of tonight's races, as well as reactions to their victories. For all the latest results as they come in and a wrap-up of all of your Election Day coverage, you can go to our website as well, yourerie.com.
And as we said at the top,